400 feet below the ocean's surface, there are things that shouldn't be there. Stone structures with right angles, formations that look like roads, what appear to be walls, steps, and entire city blocks. Some have been dated to over 9,000 years old, maybe older. And here's the strange part. Almost nobody's allowed to study them properly. Every time someone tries, funding disappears. Access gets denied. The investigation shuts down. What's really down there? And why don't they want us looking? About 12,000 years ago, the last ice age ended. The ice sheets covering huge parts of the planet started melting. And when they melted, all that water had to go somewhere. Sea levels rose. 400 feet, straight up. Think about that for a second. 400 feet is taller than most skyscrapers. Millions of square miles of land that people could walk on, build on, live on. All of it went underwater. Gone. Now here's the obvious question. Where do humans like to live? Near water. We always have. Rivers, coastlines. That's where you find food, trade routes, transportation. That's where civilizations grow. So if people were building cities 12,000 years ago, they would have built them on the coastlines. And those coastlines are now 400 feet underwater. For years, divers and researchers have been finding exactly what you'd expect down there. Structures that look man-made, geometric patterns, things that really look like roads and buildings and monuments. But every single time these discoveries get announced, the same thing happens. Researchers say, we need funding to study this properly. And the answer comes back, no. Access denied. Investigation shut down. Why? What's the pattern here? And what exactly are they trying to keep hidden? Let's look at 5 sites where this keeps happening. 1986. A dive guide off the coast of Yonaguni Island in Japan is showing tourists around when he spots something weird on the ocean floor. It's not just rocks. It's flat terraces, sharp corners, what looks like carved steps going down in perfect lines. He tells people about it. Word spreads. More divers go look, and the more they look, the stranger it gets. This thing is massive, about the size of 2 football fields, 100 feet down, and the features are impossible to miss. Flat platforms that go on for dozens of feet. Right angles so clean they look like they were cut yesterday. Staircases, channels, the kind of stuff you see in ancient temples, not in natural rock formations. Marine geologists look at it and say, oh, that's just erosion and tectonic activity, natural formation. Move along. But here's the problem. Erosion doesn't make flat surfaces. Tectonic activity doesn't create right angles. Nature doesn't accidentally carve staircases. And it definitely doesn't do all of these things in one spot by coincidence. A guy named Masaki Kimura, he's a marine geologist, spent 15 years studying this site. He found what looked like tool marks on the stones. He documented holes that seemed deliberately drilled. He mapped out channels that looked like they were carved for drainage. His conclusion, this is man-made, or at least nature made the base and humans modified it. Either way, people worked on this thing. If he's right, this structure is at least 10,000 years old. That's the last time this area was above water. 10,000 years. That's older than the pyramids, older than Mesopotamia, older than any civilization we're supposed to believe existed. So you'd think archaeologists would be all over this, right? Funding expeditions, doing detailed studies, dating everything they can find. Nope. It's been almost 40 years since they found this thing, and there's never been a real archaeological investigation. Requests for funding? Denied. Papers questioning the natural formation story? Dismissed. Why won't they look closer? Now here's one they can't deny because it's already accepted by mainstream archaeology. Ancient Hindu texts talk about this city called Dwarka. According to the stories, it was the kingdom of Lord Krishna, this incredible place with massive walls, grand buildings, busy harbors. And then one day, the ocean swallowed it whole. For hundreds of years, scholars said, yeah, that's just mythology. Never happened. Then in the 1980s and 90s, marine archaeologists started finding stuff off the coast of Gujarat, India. Stone walls, foundations, pottery, anchors. and it matched the descriptions in the old texts almost exactly. Multiple expeditions have mapped out remains covering several square miles underwater. They've pulled up artifacts and carbon dated them, thousands of years old. This was a real city. So here's what Dwarka proves. Those ancient texts weren't just making stuff up. They were preserving actual memories of real places that the ocean took. Which means we need to ask, what about all those other flood stories? The Sumerian ones, the Greek ones, the stories from dozens of cultures around the world about advanced civilizations getting destroyed by massive floods. Are those all just myths, or are those memories too? Memories of other cities that are sitting on the ocean floor right now. 1968. Divers in the Bahamas find what looks like a road underwater off Bimini Island. It's limestone blocks, rectangular, pretty uniform in size. And they're arranged in a straight line for almost half a mile. Mainstream archaeology says it's beach rock, natural formation, not man-made. But some things about it are weird. The stones look like they're sitting on little pillars or supports. Some of the blocks have marks that could be from tools, and the whole thing is just unusually regular for something that's supposed to be random. If this is artificial, it's old, really old. At least 10,000 years, maybe more. That's when this area was last above sea level. The debate's been going on for decades, but here's what's interesting. Whenever someone suggests doing a serious, detailed study of the site, the answer is always no. Funding requests get rejected. Research proposals go nowhere. If it's just natural rock, wouldn't you want to prove that once and for all? Why make it hard for people to study it? 2001. Indian scientists are doing pollution surveys in the Gulf of Cambay. They're using sonar to map the ocean floor, and they pick up something strange, really strange. Geometric structures, spread out over miles, and about 120 feet deep. They go back for a closer look. What they're seeing looks like a city. Grid patterns, rectangular buildings, foundations, the kind of organization you see in planned urban areas. They send down equipment and grab some artifacts. Wood, pottery, pieces of worked stone. They run carbon dating tests. The results come back, 9,500 years old. That's older than the oldest cities in Mesopotamia, older than Sumer, older than the official beginning of civilization. The Indian government announces this discovery. It makes international news. Scientists start planning major excavations. And then, nothing. Silence. Access gets restricted. The full excavation never happens. Academic papers stop mentioning it. 20+ years later, whatever's down there is still down there. Still unexplored, still not talked about. What made them stop? Also, 2001. A Canadian company is doing sonar mapping off the western coast of Cuba. They're using really advanced equipment, the kind that can create detailed images of the ocean floor. At 2,000 feet down, they find something that stops them cold. Structures. Geometric. Symmetrical. What looks like pyramids. Stone formations arranged in clear patterns over a huge area. The sonar images are detailed enough that they make the news worldwide. National Geographic wants in. Discovery Channel covers it. Plans get made to send down submersibles and cameras. Here's the thing about 2,000 feet deep. For something to be down that far, it would have to be incredibly ancient. Depending on when that area was last above water, we're talking maybe 50,000 years or more. That would completely destroy everything we think we know about human history. And guess what happened? Everything stopped. Funding vanished. Access got denied. Follow-up investigations were cancelled. That was over 20 years ago. Those structures are still down there. Still unexplored. Still unexplained. Nobody's allowed to look. See what keeps happening. Someone discovers an underwater structure. They announce it. People get excited. The media covers it. Researchers say, okay, we need proper funding to study this. And then the door slams shut. Access denied. Funding disappears. Mainstream archaeology dismisses the whole thing without actually examining it properly. This happened at Yonaguni. It happened at Gulf of Cambay. It happened with Cuba. It's happening right now with sites all over the world. This isn't me making stuff up. You can look this up yourself. Find the initial discovery reports. Look at the sonar images. Read the researchers' names and their funding requests. Then track what happened next, how those investigations got shut down. The pattern is there, clear as day. So why? If these are just weird rock formations, proper studies would prove that. Everyone would be satisfied. Case closed. And if they're actually ancient structures, that would be huge. One of the biggest archaeological discoveries ever. Either way, we should want to know the truth, unless the truth is something they really don't want us finding out. The story we're taught about civilization is pretty straightforward. Humans were primitive hunter-gatherers until about 10,000 BC. Then somebody figured out farming. People settled down, villages formed, and around 4000 BC, the first real civilizations showed up in Mesopotamia. Before that, nothing. Just primitive people surviving. No complex societies, no advanced knowledge, no big construction projects. But these underwater sites tell a completely different story. They suggest that advanced civilizations existed during the Ice Age. They built their cities on coastlines because that's where the resources were, where the trade was, where life was good. Then about 12,000 years ago, the ice melted, fast. Sea levels shot up 400 feet. Those coastal cities drowned. Their buildings, their knowledge, their entire civilizations wiped out. A few people survived. They moved inland, and they carried memories of the world before the flood. Those memories lasted for thousands of years, getting passed down as stories and legends and cultures all over the planet. The physical proof of those civilizations? It's on the ocean floor, hundreds of feet down, in the 95% of the ocean we haven't explored yet. If that proof gets found and studied properly, it would force us to completely rewrite human history. It would prove civilization is way older than we've been taught, that advanced societies existed and got destroyed, that our ancestors knew a lot more than we give them credit for. And for whatever reason, there are people who really don't want that story getting out. Look, these sites are real. You can look up the coordinates yourself. Yonaguni Monument, 24.4333 degrees north, 123.0000 degrees east. Bimini Road, 25.7797 degrees north, 79.2816 degrees west. The evidence exists. The questions are legitimate. And the fact that research keeps getting blocked is documented and verifiable. We've explored less than 5% of the ocean floor. Think about that. 5%. The other 95%, we have no idea what's down there. How many more cities are waiting? How many more structures? How many more pieces of our real history are sitting in the dark, underwater, unexplored? They don't want you asking these questions. They don't want researchers looking too close. And they definitely don't want these sites getting excavated and properly studied. But here's the thing about truth. It doesn't disappear just because you hide it underwater. It waits, and sooner or later, it comes back up. The question is, when it does, are you ready to handle it?